Hello everyone. It's been a couple of days since my last video. I said I'd try and pop back, which I have done. There's a couple of things that I need to get done today, and I'm on a little bit of a time scale because I think what's the time coming up to about 1 o'clock. I think 12:30, 1 o'clock, and I need to be leaving here before 5 o'clock. Otherwise, I'm going to get stuck in traffic. So a couple of things that I need to do today. One is to make an adjustment to this, which is out of the unit, and the other is to actually polish the unit. So they're the two main things that I need to get done today, and I have been racking my brain over how to fix this. And basically, let's see, this is the front leading edge, right? So I can't really touch the front leading edge, and there's not much point touching the sides because they're not the problem. The problem is the length. So it's how do I take a bit of length off this? Now, in hindsight, what I should have done is before I glued the material on, I should have put the material around the piece of wood and then see if it fit. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. So basically, what I'm going to try and do, at the back of this is a little bit crude, but what I'm basically going to try and do is get my mum's leather cutter, and I am going to attempt to cut into this actual piece as close to the edge as I possibly can. All right, and the idea being that hopefully I can peel the leather away from the edge, all right, and then sand down that leading edge of wood, right, and then that extra bit of leather that is there, I don't necessarily need to glue that down, and I'm probably not going to, because it'll be quite fiddly to try and keep pressure on that edge. So what I'll do is I'll potentially leave that just tucked, and then we'll see how we go. But I need to make sure I don't take too much off this back edge, because if I do, then the front edge is going to sit too far back and you're going to see varnish and no varnish at the front. Now, if that does happen, I've got a contingency plan, which is basically a modern version of double-sided sticky tape. So it's almost like a gel tape that's double-sided. I've actually used it to stick up my parents' Christmas lights. Worked fucking brilliant. Hell of a lot easier to do than fucking try and stick drawing pins into wood. That is until they all fall down. But anyway, so that's what I'm going to crack on with this first, because this is the fiddly one. The polishing bit, I've been saying the polishing should not take too long, and it really shouldn't. The difficulty with it is that I'm going to have to get it, with a bit of help, get it up onto the table. I'm going to need to be able to get around it. Then I'm actually going to need to get it off the table so that I can polish the top. Now, you might think, well, polish the top before you do the rest. Now, I could, but once it's on the table, it's going to have to come off the table anyway, because my dad needs to use this bit of room, this bit of space tomorrow. So I need to effectively have it moved out the way. So I'm going to crack on with this stuff, so let's see how we get on. Okay, so I know you can't really see my head, but I don't really care. So I need to make a start on, I mean, in an ideal world, I'm going to make one cut here. It's going to peel off, piece of piss. But don't live in an ideal world, do we? Now I've got my Stanley knife. In case it doesn't want to peel off very easily, I can use one of the blades to help me do that. So let's go and make sure it's the right bit I'm doing. Yes, it is. Oh. Interesting. That might be one way of doing it, but no, I want to make sure that I'm on the wood. I went between the wood and the leather, and I've done it again. But what I need to make sure is that I don't go all the way through. So let's go from this end. I mean, I can always trim a bit more off and a bit more off and a bit more off. Okay, that looks like it's working. Well, I'll be right. Obviously, I've made a bit of a mess of that bit. Let's cut that bit off. Right. So that has actually worked quite well, surprisingly. Right. Okay, so that has worked. So I've got my lip. Now what I'm actually going to try and do, because it is only a couple of millimeters that I need, what I'm actually going to try and do is see if I can fit it in without sanding anything, because if that is possible, it's worth doing. So, oh, Jesus, ooh, getting old. Let's find out, shall we? Tell you what, I'm going to get my knee pads, oh, and then I don't have to suffer. Now, I could put the knee pads on, but they do kind of cut off the circulation after a while. And my knee's just cracked. Okay, chances of this working, 0%. Now, that was my knee. Yeah, it was close, but that was basically what I expected. So what I am going to need to try and do now is to take off a little bit of this wood. Now, I know I said I might be able to sand it off. I'm thinking that it might be a bit awkward to do that. The only thing is actually getting the leather, the material, to sit the wrong way for any period of time might be difficult to do. And the thing is, if I ruin this, I haven't got enough to replace it. See, I'm thinking I could jigsaw it, it'd take 2 seconds. Well, it'd take a little longer than 2 seconds. But if I jigsaw it, I could fuck up the material. But if I don't jigsaw it, the only other way to cut it is with a saw, or I sand it, which could take quite a while and be a bit awkward, seeing as it's just on that one edge. See, now if I had a belt sander, I could literally just drop it down on the sander and away we go. thing is, it's not a lot that it needs to move. Would using the jigsaw be too extreme? If it was less than a millimetre that I needed to take off, I'd probably go with a sanding. But I'm thinking I'd be better off with a jigsaw, but that does cause me, it causes the problem of what do I do about the material? I know what I do. I could cut it off, because it's excess anyway. It won't get seen. But I'd still end up with a little bit there that'd still be in the way. Whereas what I've got now, if I could hold that back, that gives me the room. Okay. Where are you? There you are. Let's see if this is going to work. I doubt it's going to work, but we can but try. Can't say I've ever tried doing this before though, but I'm going to tape my tape. Something I've just thought of. I've actually taped the tape to the table to give me a solid starting point. Which is alright as long as I don't end up sticking all of the tape to the table. So basically what I want to be able to do is I need to peel that back. Oh, it's not stuck to the table. Yeah, fucker. Today may not be the day for ingenuity. It's all I needed. Oh, all I need to do is get it to hold it back a little bit. That's not going to work. Bollocks! It's not sticking to it. Okay. Right. What I could do is make a cut there and a cut here, unpeel all of this and move it, cut off the bit that I need and then re-glue this bit. It'd mean I'd end up with a cut there and a cut there, but to be fair, it'd never be seen. I need to have a think about that for a minute. Okay, it's been a few minutes, obviously. I had to think about what I was going to do, and to be honest, in the end I decided I didn't want to make any cuts on the top of the leather. Now I've already done what I was going to do, which was basically put the piece of wood like so, tipped it over like so, so that all of the leather was folded underneath. I've then moved it over to the edge of the table, right, and then got my jigsaw with a very small grooved bit on it. Hopefully you can see that, compared to the big fucker that I usually use, which allows me to do a much more precise small cut without shredding shitloads of the wood. So shall we find out if it worked or if I've completely fucked it up? Oh, let's go. Oh. Now, I'm going to keep the bit of leather on the back at the moment. I mean, chances are I may cut it off, but we'll see. Oh. Ow. Oh. Okay, here goes. You know, it's still a tight fit. I think that'll fucking do, you know. That's smart enough, that is. Okay, maybe protruding a tiny little bit, but I bet if I cut the excess leather off the back here, I reckon we will be absolutely fine. Thank you, piece of leather. Now it's not the straightest of cuts. That's one of the downsides of using a jigsaw, is that you don't always get the straightest of cuts. Right, let's see if that will have just fixed that final tiniest little bit that was needed, or whether it might actually just be this little noggin on the end there. Success. I'm happy enough with that anyway. Right, I'm going to take it back out because just before I actually polish the unit, I'm going to vac all of the inside of it because I basically want it to be, when I'm done today, I want it to be cleaned completely and just ready and waiting for the drawers. Now, my dad did say that, well, if this bit's done, it can always go back in the house. I said, no, I want to put it all back in the house together. Now, admittedly, it'll need moving without the drawers in it, but when it gets put in place, I want it to be done. However, there is one problem. I have ordered the handles. They will arrive within the next 2 or 3 days. I will find out at home whether they are going to look right, whether they're going to fit right. But I'm going to need to be here, I think, to drill holes if required, which I think they will be required. So to make sure I get them all lined up right, I need to do that. But the downside is the handle for the door is not going to turn up until between the 30th of December and I think the 6th or 7th of January. Which is definitely a little bit annoying because it means there won't be a handle on the door. But I'm sure my folks can cope for a few days without a handle on that. I mean, they've coped with it without it for a year, so I think they'll be all right for a few more days And to be honest, okay, I could keep it over here for that one handle, but to be fair, I might as well just get it back over there. Now, I won't be able to put the original handle on because unfortunately the actual pull bit of it is broken. But anyway, right, I need to get a little tidied up here and get ready to make a start on the unit and get some help to get it moved. Alright, see you in a bit. Well, I know it don't look too pretty without the drawers in it, and the lighting in here isn't the best. It's quite dark on this side, but having gotten it into place, it does need vacuuming. Also, from the feel of it, it could do with a quick light sanding, like a super fine sand, and so I'm going to do that before I vac, and then if need be I'll get a damp cloth and just give it a wipe over, because obviously it's been sat there for quite some time, and even though it's been covered, even the top has still managed to collect a bit of dust. So before I polish it, I need to make sure that it is clean. Okay, so I'm ready to polish. I'm only going to do the side, front and side. I'm not doing the top while it's on here, and I'm not going to bother doing the back. The back looks very nice anyway, plus it's not going to get really seen, and there's not much point in polishing that. So the way that I'm going to do this, it's getting a bit cold in here, is I'm going to apply with my yellow, and I'm going to apply it to all of it, and then by the time I've got to the end, I'll be able to pick up my, I've got a little lamb's wool pad which I'm going to use on this, because I've not used it on anything else yet, I don't think. I may have used it on the kitchen table, I'm not sure. But yeah, so that's still very clean, so I'm going to use that on this. So let's see how we go on. Now, admittedly, while I'm shaking this up, because you have to shake this up, I have vacked all of this. I have lightly sanded the whole thing. I've then vacked it again, and then I've given it a wipe over with a damp cloth and then dried it off. So I've got it as clean as I could get it. It did need a light sanding. There was just a few nibs in a few different places. I don't know whether it was dirt or what, but it needed it. Hopefully though, with a polish going on, that's going to help protect it even more. I mean, it's got plenty of layers on there to protect it. So let's crack on, shall we? I tell you what, it's absolutely fucking hammering it down outside now as well. Now, with this stuff, I don't want to go applying too much. That's still damp. That's not good. With it being so cold in here, nothing dries quickly. Oh, you dick. Things you don't want to be applying polish onto water. Let's see if that is bollocks. Right, it's not dry enough. I'm gonna have to wait. Okay, it's dry enough now, so I just need to crack on. Oh, let's go with that side. Now that I've just gone and applied way too fucking much, man. I don't know why I go Geordie, but yep, just splashed it everywhere. It'll be alright though, hopefully. I'd rather have too much on and have to take it off than not have anywhere near enough on. Well, I might regret saying that. Now, as always, given the lighting here, it's not always easy to see exactly how things are being applied. Like for example, this side is almost completely in darkness, which is not great. Oh yeah, that's a lot. Oh yeah. Well, I suppose for its first polish, it should get a decent amount going on it. The thing is, if I think there's too much on there, what I can do is use one of my other foam pads just to go over and get rid of any excess, which from the looks of it on here I might have to do. I don't mind doing that. Oh. So yeah, I might have to, because there's one of these pads that I've got that is for, this one's for putting polish on. I've got another one that is for buffing and taking polish off. So I'll probably just go over it quickly with that one. Yeah, I mean, that's way too much of splodged on there as well. Oddly, I have always struggled with this front piece. We've been able to get the angle on my hands right to be able to actually make contact with this piece of wood, which may sound a bit stupid, but it is the truth. Oh, right. Let's go. I've definitely applied way too much. It's starting to seep out of this now, but let's hope I can keep spreading it around. Now, other than the bits of test wood that I polished and the table, I've never really done polishing. I've not really ever done it on cars either. I mean, I know about it and know how to do it, but just never have done it. So even though I know the practices, I don't know the ins and outs of them. I might actually need to put a tiny little bit more on here. It's not quite spreading now. Where should we go from? Let's go on here. Now, it may not be noticeable if there's any benefit of applying this on the camera. I won't really be able to tell the difference until I try actually buffing it up. That's when I'll be able to notice if it's coming up to a decent shine. But as I mentioned on one of my previous videos, because I've used a satin varnish, a satin stain and a satin varnish, it will not go to a sort of a glassy shine, because you need gloss for that, and I didn't use gloss, I used satin, but that's not what I'll be using for my round table. Make sure that that's all nicely spread around there and I've not gone too stupid with it. Now I know that I haven't done the door yet. I was saving that till last. I may need to get some of my little brushes, foam brushes that I used for the actual varnishing of this lot, just to get in and out of these grooves with the polish. But we'll see how we get on. I'm trying to go pretty quick because I know not last week, the other week when I was doing the table, the polish or the wax then was drying pretty damn quick, and I don't want it to give me any streaks or markings in the wrong way or places. Oh, that's just splodged a load out into there, into that gap. I think I will, in a sec, I will go and grab one of my little foam sponges. I'm just going to pop this open so that I can do the door edge and top. I'm not going to bother with the bottom to be potentially a little bit pointless. So I knew these would come in handy again. Oh dear me, so let's see if we can sort these grooves out, shall we? Must admit, these have been so helpful when it comes to these kind of grooves. I'm still leaving a little bit of a splodge in the corner, but hopefully I'll be able to get to them with my other sponge. So extremely useful, these. I'm very glad that I got them. Now I know you can't really see what I'm doing, but it's nothing majorly exciting at the moment. I'm just picking up the little bits of excess in the edges. Right. Also, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm about to run out of memory on my phone because I've been recording for quite a while. Right, okay, so now that that's applied, what I'm going to need to do is I am going to get my I've splashed fucking polish everywhere, my two different pads. This one, which is for taking polish off and buffing, and this is the little one I was on about. It came with all the other little foam pads that I bought. So the idea here then is to buff it up a little bit, but also hopefully take off any polish excess that there may have been. I shouldn't say may, I should have said will have been. Now I don't need to go over it loads with this one because the idea is to just be taking that excess off, but I will have to go over it with the little one that's in my left hand. That's the one that hopefully will give it its final sort of shine. Now I can already feel just from through the sponge or through the foam how smooth and slippery the wood feels. Nothing's grabbing onto the sponge or sticking, which lets me know that it is giving it a nice smooth finish. Now I am trying to go with the grain in all places with the polish. Oh. Now we'll come back to the door. Oh. Okay, this is killing my arms and my back and my pussy and my crack. I only said that because I actually shared a funny picture that had that reference to that song on it on Facebook today. Anyway, right, I'm going to do top of the door first. And the side, so that I can then close the door. Yes, it's killing me. Oh, but it's going to be worth it. Come on, Dave, keep pushing. It will be worth it. Out. Okay, let's give it a feel. Not bad. Not bad. It is nice and smooth. It still definitely needs buffing, definitely. But that is what this is for. Now this one, admittedly, it's made to so you can put it onto a drill and obviously spin it. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do it by hand because I do not want to damage this now, not after a year of work. I don't know if it makes some weird noises, eh? Now, to me, from here, it does look like it's shining up quite nicely. Well, at least I'm getting a good reflection out of it. Oh yeah, and that feels a lot better. I mean, one of the downsides though to this unit is that because it isn't in pristine, perfect condition, there's a lot of bumps and a bit of warping and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think you'd ever really be able to get a perfectly smooth, like mirror flat finish to it, given the age of it, the dents and all that kind of stuff. That is looking alright now, feeling a lot better. I have to go hard around the corner while I do this side. Now this side obviously going to be a lot more difficult for me to see how it's getting on with its buffing up. Now I could have tried using the orbital sander for doing this buffing, but considering the sort of difficulties and confusion I had with the kitchen table, which you won't have seen yet, but basically I tested using the orbital sander as a buffer on the kitchen table with not a lot of success. It made me well, basically it made me make the decision I was not going to use it on this. I will effectively just use it as a sander rather than a buffer. But anyway, it's getting quite a nice reflection, to be fair, on this side. It's difficult to see perfectly, but I can see a very good reflection of the table. How's it feeling? Oh, lovely. Yeah, lovely. Fucked. I just thought, why am I using that as the handle? Or did I try this when I was doing the table? That doesn't stick on. No, it's alright. I'll see how I get on with that then. As a handle might just be a bit easier to hold on to. Probably should have taken my jumper off for this bit because I'm getting hot now, even though it's cold in here. That might need a little bit more, but I'll come back to that because my arms are getting tired and doing these bits. It's not going to be easy, actually. I think I preferred it on this. It's got a bit more of a defined edge to this, which will help me on these bits, hopefully. What riveting stuff to watch. I wonder how many people I've put to sleep with these videos. I do know some people have listened to my videos when they go to bed. I don't know, maybe it's just my voice, it gets them going. Or just gets them to fucking sleep. What? Being on a corner or an angle, I should say. So it might be easier actually to go over it all like that. Needs a little more. The thing is, interestingly, I can tell from the feel where it needs, or at least I think I can, where it needs a little bit more buffing. smoother. I've also already cleaned up the hinge that I'd left half of it not quite cleaned properly because I thought that these bits went on the inside, but they don't. I'm really pushing myself way too hard here. Oh, and by the way, I've used my exercise bike twice now. Okay, they were like 3 months apart, but at least I've used it. I was going to use it again today, but I used it yesterday, and I thought if I do it today, I'm not going to be able to come and do this. And to be honest, I think I was right. If I had done it, there's no way I'd be here doing this now, because I'm going to suffer from doing this. And that's one of the things I suppose I haven't really talked about much recently. I mean, for example, the kitchen table, right? I did that over the course of 9 days. Was it 10 days? It took me 3 weeks to recover. And that's one thing that a lot of people don't quite understand, because people might go, well, look, you're doing this, you're all right. It's like, well, no, I'm suffering like fuck doing this, and I'm pushing myself way too hard, knowing that I'm going to suffer tonight, tomorrow, the day after, the weekend. Why do you think I don't sleep very often? I don't sleep well because I'm in pain, because I'm suffering. I mean, even last night, went to bed midnight-ish. Oh, bollocks, dropped it, did not want to do that. Yeah, I went to bed midnight-ish. I was awake every hour and a half until, what, 6:30, and then I'm awake and I'm up. Right, I think I'm all buffed up. Actually, no, I could tell from earlier, this bit I needed to come back to, and I was saving it because my arms are lower. Now, I have no idea whether on the camera it looks any different, or you've been able to see more of a shine or a reflection on it. I've no idea. I'm not really going to be able to tell until I have got it in a better light, because I mean, I can see on the camera there is a reflection on the side, but the door looks quite dark and dull and a bit reddish, but in actual fact it doesn't look that colour. It just looks a lovely brown here. So it'll be interesting to see what it's like in a proper light, and it will be interesting to see what it's like with the drawers in, because I think that contrast of these colours and the colours in there, it doesn't really help the whole thing. But I think with the rest of the drawers in, it should hopefully really make it pop. Okay, what this means now then is I'm going to take a break, and during that break I will check this over, see if there's anywhere I need to just buff it up a bit more, and then it leaves me with the top. Once that's done, this bit is completed, and it'd only be the handles we're waiting on. So it's been a long time coming, but we're getting close, getting really close. Right, I'm getting very low on memory on my phone, so I'm going to try and do this as quick as I can. I've given my polish a good shake. I'm going to use the same process as I used on the rest of the unit. Get plenty on there. Now you should be able to see that obviously it's made it a bit streaky, but obviously I've put quite a bit on. I just need to work it in a little bit. and then when it's ready, take a bit of the excess off, just like the rest of the unit. Now I am going to do the back of this board so that that is all done. Also need to make sure I get plenty on at the ends here, don't want to miss any of it. Now I think I'm going to change, I don't think I'm going to need any more on there. Oh, I'm going to change pad. I'm also going to just quickly go down there to sort that out. Now this is where hopefully we'll start seeing it come up with a bit of a shine, but I'm going to try and go all the way across using my Tai Chi, not Feng Shui. And the reason I'm going to go all the way across is so that I don't get swirls in the middle of the unit. Now, just like before, this is just to get any excess off and buff it a little bit. It's the next one where hopefully the magic will happen. Oh. Oh. Now I would like to stand somewhere that I can really see what effect this may or may not have. Can you see any effect? I don't know. I'm just gonna have to keep going. I think I went too quick then. Don't scratch the wood. Thing is, I know I said a little while ago I'm pushing myself really hard. I am, and I think it's because I'm so close to the end. Oh yeah, fucker. Just need to make sure I don't go dripping sweat on it. Hang on, let me get me brush. I don't know whether it's visible on the camera or not, but to me it has given it a richer shine to it. keep going. No, my look though, on there, you won't be able to notice a difference. This is it. This is the last bit. Ooh. Although I think it still needs buffing a bit more on the top, to be fair. Oh. It definitely looks like it's got a much better shine on it now. Oh. I so wish I was as fit and healthy as I used to be. Doing this would be a fucking piece of piss, and I'd have probably done it within a week, maybe 2, instead of over a year. Right, I think I'm gonna have to pretty much stop there. I think that's me just about done. Just spotted a slightly dull bit. That feels absolutely lovely. It's not wet, it's not sticky, it's just lovely and smooth. Oh. How's it look? What's that? No different? Yeah, I'm not surprised. It does look different, I can tell. I must admit, I mean, when I started this, I used a tin of varnish, a tin of stain that was already here, was already being used. And if there's one regret I've got about this, it's that I didn't use gloss. I would have liked to have used gloss on this, but maybe it would have just, maybe it wouldn't have suited it. Anyway, right, I'm done with this now, which means we're just waiting on the handles for the drawers and then combine the two, and it is absolutely complete. Feels weird saying that. Now obviously I can already feel a sort of a sense of relief, but also a sense of disappointment, because I have enjoyed doing this. I mean, it's like today's been painful, but I've enjoyed it, and as I said very early on, my main goal is simply to make it look better than it did when I started. And it definitely looks better than it did when I started. Right. Well, hopefully the next video will be showing the handles going on the drawers, and then the drawers going in the holes. I'm looking forward to that. See you again. See you in a bit. See you later.